I remember when I made the decision, I was like hysterically crying on the phone with my attorney. I was extremely emotionally intoxicated.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Mel, and welcome to Life Coaching by Mel. We're here every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can get each of my videos. Hit the like button, hit me in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this amazing topic on today, and share this with at least one person. Guys, what I like to do periodically is have someone on to discuss various topics, whatever's trending. And today is no different. I have an amazing guest on today, my amazing sister in love. This is my wife's sister, Joy. Joy, how's it going?
Good, going well. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure and my honor. I appreciate you for coming on. Every time Joy and I get together, whatever family function or whatever, we seem to have these invigorating conversations, no matter what. So I thought it'd be awesome to have you on. I love your perspective. We don't always agree on everything, but we seem to agree to disagree or respectfully disagree every
Yes.
time. So it's always amazing to speak with you. And today we're going to discuss this crazy viral thing that's going on between our guy, your guy, my guy, Tyrese Gibson. Tyrese seems to always stay in the news. As you can see, his ex-wife actually recently came out to say her piece. The headline is Tyrese's ex-wife says having the wrong friends made her file for divorce. She says, quote, well, actually, I won't read the quote. I have a video that we can actually play, and then we'll get into our initial thoughts about that. Let's take a listen.
Gone through a divorce?
Not that time.
Okay.
The truth about the matter is that if I had different people in my ear at that time, I would not have made that decision. No, I was very, very hurt. I was very angry. I remember when I made the decision, I was like hysterically crying on the phone with my attorney. I was extremely emotionally intoxicated. I'm an extremely emotional person, but I know women specifically, there will be moments where they'll be like, I'm ready to be done. I can't stand this. He don't do this. And we're just focusing on these things. And because you don't have a certain person in your life to check you and say, sis, what about this? What about these strengths? What about what he's not doing? That can get you thinking about the positive aspects of this person that you may not be thinking about when you're upset.
Now, that was her initial comments regarding whether she would have gotten divorced if she had the appropriate people in her ear. But you know Tyrese ain't gonna miss a moment to respond and to get a piece of that limelight. So he had to give his response, and here it is.
So if you had people in your ear at the time, they must be still in your ear because you're still trying to get $20,000 a month for a 5-year-old. You make $160,000 a year on your own. You're clout chasing. If you wanted to be famous, boo-boo, that's all you had to say. You didn't have to play this game that you wasn't. You think I would have a song entitled, I Don't Think You Ever Loved Me, if I didn't really feel that way? You think I would have a song out called Love Transaction if I didn't realize that it was never love, it was just a transaction? This is about money. You already tried to ask me to come back. You already tried to reconcile. I told you I was in a relationship with Zelle, and I was not willing to go and break this off or cut this woman off because you decided to wake up on a Wednesday and come back and play in the sand.
Come back and play in the sand now. These are two crazy people, in my opinion, there, Joy. But the way I want to approach this conversation, I want us to give our perspective on their particular instance, and I want to put a quick disclaimer that I don't use any celebrity topics to put any of them on a barometer or like they're higher than any of us. They're humans just like us, but just use their public information or public topic to make a general point. But let's talk a little bit about their situation. What are your thoughts on that? And then we have another topic, the actual topic of the show that you guys don't want to miss. Be sure you stick around. Joy, what are your initial thoughts about this?
So first of all, I have a cold, so forgive the sniffles. But I don't think they're two crazy people. I think they're two people who are hurting. And I think that's where, when you talk about the humanity bit of it, I think when you're hurting, stay away from the phone. And so for me, looking at and listening to this, there are two people are hurting. There are people, two people with regrets. There are two people whose future and future plans and goals and joys and dreams have changed. The trajectory have completely changed. And in the midst of it is a little beautiful girl, right? Who has the parents separated, who's going to grow up to see all of this in the media. And that's sort of sad for me. So that's why for me, listening to it, I'm going, you both don't have good people in your ear, because if they do, they will take the phone away and, not, and not have you do this. Because yes, or if you record it just because you want to pour it out, record it and then delete. Right? We're human. Anger is a valid emotion. We're told even as Christians, it's fine. It's not a sin to express. It's just how you express it is what you do with it that matters. So express this, pour it out. It's come from a place of pain and anguish, regrets, loss, whatever it is, grief, and then deal with it. Social media, nobody is your friend. You just fodder, right? For everybody to kind of like, it almost feels dirty, like vultures picking at what's left over of what they once had, right? None of these people are going to come back to console you. You're pouring out there and trying to duke it out in court of public opinion. And it's like, to what end? Right? To what end? So that's my general, but I'll let you lead the way with the questions. But that's just my initial sort of reaction was sadness for both of them, because I feel like there's still love there, especially from him. Even though it's coming out with this, all of this, I feel like there's anger, but it's because there's loss. It's because he's sad, right? What could have been is not what is going to be anymore.
Yeah, well said for sure. When I use the word crazy, I'm being facetious for sure, but
I know.
but what I'm using is actually stemming off of the word she used. She said emotionally intoxicated,
What does
and
that mean?
I think drunk with emotion, like basically I'm out of my mind. I'm being led by my emotion, not using any sense of logic, any sort of logic whatsoever. And that's honestly that's how I describe Tyrese for the majority of what he shows publicly as well. He's consistently stemming out. I mean, just showing his emotions online without any thought of how this would play out. I just recently saw a clip of when Dr. Dre initially sold the Beats by Dre. I forgot all about this. Tyrese went live. They was really drunk, actually intoxicated. He went live talking about the deal, and the deal had not been fulfilled yet. So they Dre could have lost a $3 billion deal, $3.1 billion deal based on Tyrese doing things like that. So my point is, when will he ever learn his lesson? And I don't root for people to fail by no means.
Right.
However,
Right.
I got this thing I say I like seeing crazy people together. I like seeing people who ruin lives. I like seeing those two people come together, because leave us sane people alone. That's all I'm saying.
Let them combust together.
Yes,
Just go. Yes. Yes.
So
I see what you mean.
These are two people who are essentially the same person. She later has revealed, it sounds like what Tyrese is saying, that she was always doing this for clout. For her to now be on a, world tour trying to, talk about this situation or whatever. It sounds like this may be something she's benefiting from. And now she's looking for more money. But Tyrese, this is the devil you created. Now you have to live with it, because that's how you live your life. And
Could it be that she's always wanted it, or could it be that she got a taste of it? He did say, in the longer version of his reply, which I didn't watch the whole thing because it just got sadder and sadder. But for me, I thought we all get a taste of the quote unquote good life. And we're like, ooh, what have I been missing? Like, you know what I mean? So could it be that she was that simpleton and she just loved him for him? But then he exposed her to the good life. And now she doesn't have it anymore, and she's missing that, right? That could be it too. And so people change, people grow, people evolve, and circumstances cause that too. So I am not quick to vilify her as somebody that this has always been her plan. Because if I recall, the little bit I knew from Tyrese is when they met each other, they were both very vocal about being happy to have found each other. They had the Christian leaders, influences in their lives, praying for them, guiding them, counseling them. So they were very intentional about this path forward. Because Tyrese, I don't think he was married before, but he was in a relationship and has an older daughter.
Right.
And so I think he wanted to do it right. She wanted to do it right. She didn't want to be just this person latching onto a celebrity, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so they both went into this. So for me, that's why I say again, this I felt was coming from a sad place, an angry place, a hurt place,
Yeah.
right? And so to now go back and rewrite history, I don't like the revisionist history.
True.
If he actually sits there and remembers the work they put into it in the beginning. They had all these big high profile pastors and bishops counseling them and talking to them long before they got into the marriage. But now to go back and, oh, this is all you've always wanted. Okay, let's not go back all the way. Let's just stay here, feel the pain, heal through it.
Yeah.
Right. That's my whole thing, which is why both of them should stay off of social media. It's not
True.
helpful to both of them at all. And the whole emotionally intoxicated, thank you for explaining, because I was like, huh? For both of them, but she's the one who used that word and said, I was hurt, I was angry, I was emotionally intoxicated, and then if only I had the right people. And my question is, you're both adults. So how do you go through this life and in something so crucial to not only your life, to the other person's life, to your children's life, how do you make such a crucial decision when you know that you were so emotionally intoxicated? You have to give yourself time out. It is huge. This is a big decision. And so if you're feeling that way, she said she was what? Crying hysterically, extremely emotional, crying, extremely crying, blah, blah, everything is extreme.
Right.
And you called your lawyer. Excuse me, the lawyer only cares about, are you ready? Yes, let's sign the papers and do it. Right? But you recognize within yourself that you were distraught. Like, this is huge. This is a lot for you, whether somebody's talking to your ear or not. Then you take a step back. There's nothing wrong with being separated for a little bit. There's nothing wrong with going back to those people that counseled you both. Right? She said she didn't have anybody she could trust. Like, you didn't have anybody at all? Not one person, right? That you could trust, that you could go to, that can at least say, step away for a bit. You don't owe anybody anything. This is your life. Even if you're separated for a year or two, that's okay. Because it gives you time to recalibrate, to think through things, to think about. I think in a longer clip, she had said something about she wasn't even thinking about her daughter. And that blew my mind. Everybody is different, but I have a child, and there is no way I will make a decision that impacts my child so deeply and not think about it or take a step back, right? And make sure that I assess this before I take that step. And so you did mention Tyrese always going back and doing this. And then I'm thinking, yes, it is time for someone to take his phone away and have him sit down and say, stop it. You're an adult. There's only so many times you can say, well, I was just intoxicated, since this is a word, and take responsibility, right? It's like, it's your life. Stop taking responsibility for it and step back and don't make such big, huge decisions. You can't claw these things back. Unfortunately, this is not 1990 anymore. It's out there. It's out there.
Yeah, that's big, and I'm with you on that. And I think that, and when you hear the reasoning that the friends started to say, you need to consider leaving this guy, it's because of his previous online rants. And even if someone is not getting influence from outside, I mean, come on now, you got to think to yourself, like, man, this is ridiculous. Like, as a woman, that's her name on the line as well.
Exactly.
I'm somebody who supports men a majority of the time, but I'm willing to call men out all of the time if necessary. This is ridiculous, Tyrese. I mean, the fact that you were putting your wife life and her well-being and her livelihood or whatever on the line by all these, emotional outbursts. You think about, I don't know how long they've been married. I didn't look it up. I'm sorry, but
it wasn't long.
It had to be within the time frame where he was doing this Fast and the Furious rant he did, and that's causing money lost and other rants he's done. That's you not only you putting your life on the line, your career on the line, you putting your families as well, their well-being. So he set the precedent for how this thing would go. Is what I'm trying to say. Now that she's gone public with information and whatever he thinks she's doing, it's because of she's responding to you. And she didn't have you to listen to. She didn't have maybe the same counsel that you had, prior to marriage, because maybe they're more on your side. Whoever the case may be, Tyrese set the tone for how the relationship would go.
He did, but they need to take responsibility individually. Whether she did it, whether he did it, where does it stop? right? For me, it's because I think he started by saying I wasn't going to respond. Then why are you responding? It's like when you need that ego boost, when you need to prove yourself, when you need to tell the public, see, I was right. See, she wants me back. She already asked me back and it didn't work. And now she wants the publicity. What does that do for you? Do you sleep better at night that the mother of your child is out there and you vilified her even more in the face of public? What would you tell your baby girl in a few years? And why is that thought not going through your mind as an adult and as a grown man?
He needs
Right.
validation. He's constantly seeking validation, and you can go down the line the story you've heard him talk about, with his mother and childhood issues that he may have had, rejection as a kid, with his skin color and how he looks and
How
things like
old
that.
is he?
Exactly. At some
I
point,
mean, at some point, the buck stops here. I'll go to counseling. If I have to continue going to counseling until I get it right, I'll keep getting it, keep working on it. But in the meantime, somebody take my phone away.
yes, yes, yes. So let's ask you this, and if
Mhm.
I'm stepping over boundaries or things you're not comfortable with,
Yeah.
please let me know. But you are, someone who's been married before, and you
Mhm.
have a child with your ex-husband. Let's talk about that child support aspect of it. Although Tyrese is in the wrong, and it's so much to be said about how the relationship went, and whether she's right or wrong or
Yeah.
seeking clout. What are your thoughts on the fact that she's asking for $20,000 a month?
So, my understanding, first of all, is that they have a prenup. So that would dictate it. So I think I will put
Hold
not
on,
my.
before I
uh,
continue. I'm
yeah.
sorry to cut you off.
Mhm. It's
What is
okay.
your profession as well, if you don't mind?
I was going to say that. I said, I'm going to put my lawyer hat on. I'm an attorney. I
Okay,
put my
continue.
lawyer hat on and say, in the court system, the court tries to be fair, right, to both spouses. Whether it's the man making more, woman making more, it doesn't matter. The fact is, there's each state has their own child support guidelines that the judge has to follow to reach some kind of fair adjudication for the parties, right?
Mhm.
And so I think usually when we hear these big celebrities numbers for child support, people go, "Oh my gosh, oh he's hardworking. She wants to take all that." Well, Mary J. Blige had hers too, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, he wants to take all her money." Halle Berry. I mean, we could continue. The point is, we forget that these people make money, so much money, right? And these children live in a different lifestyle than we ever know. The little bit we see is what they want us to see. We don't see the rest of it. And when it comes to time for the court to decide, the court sees all of it. The
Mhm.
bank accounts, the assets we don't know, the homes we don't know, how much the party, maybe they threw a birthday party for that child that was $1 million last year, right? And now they're separating, and you want it to be that when the child celebrates with the dad, they throw $1 million and the mom throws a $500 party. Not fair. Because
Oof.
that child is gonna be like, I don't like mommy's house. Right. So, and so in consideration of the lifestyle and all of that, the court says, we think it's fair. You make this much a year, and we're going to look at the guidelines, see what's fair over the next few years, and allocate such amount of money per month. We think that will get sort of on par in both households. So it's not unfair to the child just wanting this happy house better, a fun house better. And that's how it works. So let's not look at the number with our own minds and what we make. Let's look at it in what they make, the lifestyle they lived with this child. And that's what the court looks at. And then, of course, according to the state guidelines for allocating these funds. The same thing if it was spousal support. How long have they been married? There's so many considerations, right? What kind of lifestyle? If he was giving her a diamond every year, now you said she should go live in a $200 apartment. Like what? No.
Yeah.
You didn't have, yes, you're not married anymore, but hey, you spent a few years together and she's gonna cost him a certain lifestyle. We're not saying she will have all of it, but we have to give a little bit of a um, consideration to that to make
Yeah.
the decision. So do I think it's outrageous? No, not because I've not seen his entire asset. I don't see how much he brings in every month, right? And so if he brings it, let's say after taxes, $1 million a month, 20,000 then becomes nothing,
Mm.
right? So
Man.
so I think we can't judge it from the outside looking in.
And that's so true. And I appreciate you for breaking that down, because I may have heard it I may have heard it before. I never heard it broken down that way before.
Yeah.
It makes complete sense. It's a harsh reality, for men or for anyone that's the higher earner.
Earner. Yeah.
Mary J. Blige situation happened years back. I was like, look, it's not right, but it's fair. I mean,
Mhm.
like that's just the
Mhm.
way it is. I mean, if it was a
Yeah,
man, we wouldn't be saying anything. Same with Halle Berry.
exactly.
But to say that this child deserves to have, the same lifestyle, both houses, that makes sense to
Similar,
me. Or similar, at
similar.
least similar,
Yeah,
right?
close.
Uh,
Yeah.
it makes sense to me. That's the
Mhm.
best I've heard broke it down with this. So I guess the survey says on this situation, Joy, both of them wrong. Both of them wrong, and they need Jesus. That's what they need. No, I'm just
Well, apparently they're both Christians, which that's another thing in our world today. What does it mean to be a Christian? Right?
Mm,
There are two facets of there. People who just believe that, hey, I was born in the church, maybe baptized in the church. My mom and dad were Christians or were pastors. I'm a PK, and that's it.
yeah,
Right? And then yet there is the Bible believing Christian, that it's not about how many times you make your attendance known in a four wall
yeah,
house. It's about your personal relationship with the Lord.
yeah.
And so at the end of the day, I think I subscribe to the part that by their fruits you should know them,
Mm,
but also the part that, hey, we are all humans and our righteousness is as filthy rags.
yeah,
And so before we cast that first stone, let's turn the mirror to us.
absolutely.
If somebody saw you last night, would you be considered a Christian? And I think that's it, is that, yes, it doesn't mean we shouldn't speak, right, to our brothers and sisters and say that's wrong. Jesus did that, sometimes very harshly, right? In
Absolutely.
today's world, to say, Jesus, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
calm down, right? But he does tell us to speak the truth in love.
Love.
And I think that's what it is. You're going to have conversations, like you said, and we speak to each other and we get to the point where we get a bit heated. But the understanding is that we're trying to learn from each other and we have love for one another. But it doesn't mean we shouldn't speak truth to one another
Right.
based on our convictions, right? And my conviction is different from yours because you have a different walk with the Lord. We're not
Absolutely.
all doing the same thing, right? And the way the Lord relates to me, I mean, just think about the disciples, 12 of them. He relates to them all different ways.
Yeah.
Right? But they all walked with him, right?
Right.
They all saw the same miracles and everything. All different people,
Yeah.
including Judas, right?
Yeah.
And
Whew.
so, but they were all disciples. They were all given the power. The Holy Spirit fell on them. Like it's you think about that. They sat with Jesus, dined with Jesus, heard he gave them power to go and heal people, all of them. But you look at how everybody turned out all differently.
Yeah.
And that's what I like in being Christian too. We cannot look at one person and say, you should be like this. No, there should be some baseline sort of what we should see Jesus in you,
Yeah.
right? That baseline should be there as a Christian, but it manifests different ways, and it doesn't mean that it's wrong or right.
Yeah. Absolutely. I agree. And I say there is a line of demarcation, which is you have the Ten Commandments, you have the abominations, you have the greatest of these commandments that Jesus said, love your God and love your neighbor. But other than that, there's a lot of gray areas, and it's not for me
Hmm.
to tell that person, what
Yeah.
it's a sin for them, and the same for me. So yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I speak blunt like Jesus. I'm be honest. I just say it. I just say it, but I'm provocative with my speech to grab attention, and then I show that grace and love. So
Hey, that was Paul's style.
yeah.
Paul will hit them hard and go, but Jesus is love. That's all. That's all. That's why I'm doing this. Don't be so mad at me. You know, it's all from a place of love.
Right.
So, yeah,
For
let's
sure.
go.